وآله الطيبين وأصحابه المنتجبين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى قيام يوم الدين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The blessed Prophet had said that this life of our world is but an hour, so spend it in obedience and not disobedience. Now, when we say the Quran and we listen to the conversations relayed by the Quran between the people standing there and the judgment, whoever is passing the judgment, the people will say, we only lived for an hour in a day upon the earth. And the Quran also says that it will be but an hour. Now, what happens here is that either due to the protracted period or length of time that we will be standing on the day of Qiyamah, that the sum total of the life of this earth will seem like an hour, or that we are indeed experiencing a very short span of time, but our minds seem to think of it as a life of 60 to 80 to 100 years in a lengthy period of time. It is like a dream, and the dream seems very, very long. But when we awaken, we realize that we've only slept for an hour or half an hour, and we've had such a lengthy experience in that dream state. So either or is the case. I believe both of them are true interpretations of this understanding that the life of this earth is only an hour. But the interesting part here is that the people who will be contesting against whoever they are talking with on the day of Qiyamah, they will be saying it was only an hour, as if to say that we did not have our full opportunity to prove ourselves. So it seems that the life of this earth is a sort of an opportunity for us to gain something. And failure to do that will result in a lot of regret. And beyond regret, will also result in actually questioning as to whether we had our full share of the opportunity or not. That will be the state of desperation within our souls. Now, couple that with the hadith of the Prophet and Imam Sadiq, in which the Blessed Prophet said that the greatest regret encountered by human beings will be on the day of Qiyamah. And Imam Sadiq's hadith, in which he states that this regret will be at the realization of the loss of an opportunity, that opportunity has gone, and on the back of how we did at that point is going to be determined a very long-term destiny and future for us. So you can imagine how much hinges upon this opportunity of life, to the extent that the Quran invokes the books and the keepers of records to come and list out for human beings that no, it appears an hour, but for you it was a full opportunity in that realm. Now, with that prelude in mind, I often ask myself that majority of my life is consumed by my negative outlook, by my negative emotional states, by my wasteful pursuits, and how life has gone by at that rapid speed, I have not even realized. But I do know one thing, that at the age of 20, I used to feel offended when people said something untoward to me. Today, I still feel offended. 20 years ago, I would retain that impression of hurt and offense in my soul for days at a time. Today, I do the same thing. When I would lose something 20 years ago, I would feel a sense of regret and I would feel down and I wouldn't be able to shed that off me. Today, I feel the same way. Years ago, I used to feel a sense of disappointment at unmet expectations. Today, I feel the same way. So when I analyze my own life, I see that 20 years have been lost and I haven't substantively gained anything. Now, this loss has not been imposed by lack of opportunity, that I could not go to a prestigious university and actualize my intellectual potential. No, the opportunity is the realest opportunity in everyday life events and challenges. And that's the realest opportunity because that addresses my mind, my psychology, and my inner being. The real opportunity, in fact, is always there. I have failed to gain from it through my failure of recognition that this is an opportunity and to make the most of it. Instead, I have interacted with it in a very bodily fashion. Feelings of offense, feelings of regret, feelings of failure, feelings of hurt, feelings of indifference. Whereas the opportunity was for me to encounter these events that cause such emotions inside me. And then for me to deal with these emotions, recognize them, and come beyond them, grow through them, become a bigger person. So when my expectations from people are not met with by them, I can feel disappointed at the initial level of breaking of expectations. But then after that, I'm supposed to grow beyond it and say to myself, they are on their own journey. I am growing through my own journey and they are an integral part of my journey. If they do not live up to my expectations, then I should not get stuck at that point of feeling disappointment and feeling sorry for myself that I do so much and so little is done for me. Instead, the attitude should be this, that I am doing it through my own capacity that God has given me. And I'm given the opportunity to grow through it without expectation, to serve others and not to be dependent upon others, to be able to forgive them and rely upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see, when we are wanting love to be reciprocated and it is not reciprocated, initially we will find it an unbearable inner state. At that point, then we are supposed to take ownership of this feeling, of this heartache, of this heartbreak, of this misery. Then we need to become accomplished from within, that we are not enslaved to the love of another, that their love makes us and breaks us. Similarly, when people offend us, we retain those sentiments deep within our souls and we never let them go. I, in my life and life's journey, have met with people when I used to meet with them 25, 30 years ago, they would be talking about what has happened to them. 20, 30 years on, they still recount those events. They never allowed themselves to move on. They became stuck and stagnated. Whereas after the initial offense and the hurt, to forgive and go beyond and become immune to further disappointments when people hurt us, to just say that they're on their own journey and they are weak, or to say that if a child were to say things to me, it would mean very little because I know the child is not in a right state of mind. So, in this way, I find that in our internal world, we are stagnated, and that is leading to the loss of opportunity to gain the only thing we are out to gain, and that is the fullness of our own souls and our own light. The completion of the soul is that it becomes detached from these bodily properties and sentiments and expectations, want of validation, reciprocity of love, people living up to our expectations. These are all bodily wants or wants generated by our bodily condition. Whereas the inner being is nothing to do with the body. As we live, the bodies wither away, we become old. It's actually telling us that I am a temporary host. You are a guest. You were never supposed to have fallen in love with this building that is crumbling whilst you're still living inside it. Open the door and let yourself out, or at least mentally be prepared that this building is crumbling and collapsing. So here it is. Once we awaken from deep within, and it's never too late to awaken, it's never too late to awaken. Even if we awaken a day before our final breath, it is fine, or even a moment, because as soon as the awakening comes, I firmly believe that our merciful God leaves the door of opportunity open for us beyond this life to go through a process of self actualization. So, the opportunity are the very breaths that we are taking. We cannot waste them in the way that we or our human condition causes us to waste them. You see, if we were to understand this world as an opportunity, we would not be running to the musalla, pleading to God and saying, why me? And save me from this calamity. We would say to Allah, take me through this challenge that you have destined for me. If I am unable to bear it, then lessen it. But if in your knowledge you know I'm able to bear it, then take me through it in a way that I pass and succeed through this challenge and grow to a different pedestal of my own existence. You see, instead of resorting to so many tasbihs for the sake of God keeping us safe, we do tasbih in order to feel the presence of God and to allow the inner self to open to God and to embrace God and His decree.